Welcome to the Intuitive Health Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Anthony Rafferty, medical doctor, PhD, Reiki, and shamanic intuitive healer. I'm here to bring you on a journey of holistic healing that explores the science of the physical body combined with mental and emotional well-being, energetic and spiritual health. And I'm incredibly excited to be here today talking to you about energetic hygiene. And what is it? You're probably thinking, what is energetic hygiene? Well, what I tend to say to people is, you clean your body every day, you brush your teeth, you shower, you look after your physical hygiene. But when was the last time you cleaned your energy field? When was the last time you cleared your energetic space that you were living in of all the heavy energies that you do not want interacting with you every single day? So, I became very passionate about energetic hygiene back when I started on my own journey as an energetic healer. And it's such a gripe that I have now with regard to people who go and train in energy healing. Oftentimes, it's through an attunement or an initiation process in which we turn up for the weekend, we're given some attunements, and then we're told to head off and begin learning some of this stuff by ourselves. And, we're stepping into spaces and sometimes we're putting hands on people to do healing that have dense energy that moves through our body as a channel. However, I don't think in many of the training programs that go on that we get adequate teaching around energetic hygiene, how important it is to have a mentor or to have a really, really grounded practice in which you cleanse, clear, and protect your energy field. Now, this is a basic requirement for people working in a healing capacity. But this is also really, really important for everybody walking around on the day to day. Because I'm very attuned to energies and I spend my day in and day out working with people's energies, I have seen some wild and wonderful things in people's energy field, but also in the world around us. And we're living at the moment in an environment which has a dense energy field. The collective energy is heavy. It's heavy, heavy, heavy. So, I really, really wanted to kind of create this podcast to give you some tools to be able to just mind yourself and protect yourself on an energetic level, to have some good energetic hygiene as you move through your day to day. So, like I say, you don't need to be a healer in order to exchange energy with the world around you. You could just be doing your day to day stuff. And by the end of the day, you're thinking to yourself, I am absolutely wrecked. What happened to me today? I feel like I was hit by an energetic train. But I've spoken into this in previous podcasts. Potentially you had interacted with people or places or environments in which there was a particularly dense or heavy energy that you exchanged some energy with in that space. So today I'm going to go through how to cleanse your energy field, how to clear your energy body of anything that is not there for your highest good that maybe you picked up on your journeys on the day to day, or potentially through some healing work that you did, and then how to invoke or create some protective energetic boundaries around the body. So we're going to cleanse, clear, and protect. So, like I say, we usually spend a lot of time preening ourselves and really looking after our physical hygiene. But it's really important now, I think, with the times that we're living in. And this, especially because people are becoming more aware about energy and they're doing more energetic practices. So, meditations, breath work, things that really move and engage in the energy body. It's really important to really start to tend to the energy field in the same way that you would your physical body. Now, I spoke a little bit into the fact that we often, through energy medicine training, don't receive these tools. And I think they're so important. But what's really, really interesting on a day-to-day perspective for someone that isn't a healer is that you are literally engaging with and carrying around energies that aren't yours. So, when you meet someone that is radiant and like the sun, it is so beautiful to spend time with that person. Their energy body is vibrating at a high frequency. Now, science describes energy as frequency and vibration, but potentially you're someone that likes to take a more spiritual view of this. So rather than using vibration or frequency, you might refer to energy as something like prana or chi or life force energy. But essentially, these are all different descriptive terms for the same thing. Now, that person that has a radiant light that you're engaging with and feels like the sun and the warmth to be around them, they have a lovely high vibrational energy. And, being in the presence of some people like that, it can just be so soothing for your own energy field. However, we have all been in a circumstance where you've interacted with somebody or potentially a place, potentially you've walked into a bar and you've gone, oh my God, the energy in here is sticky and stagnant. You might not perceive that as being an energy, but essentially you're reading the room in that moment. You're feeling it. Energy is a felt experience. So, really, that's why I try in these podcasts to get people to tune into their body, what they're feeling, because feeling gives us a great sense of what's actually happening on a really deep, energetic level. So let's deep dive into the first of the three things that I want to discuss with you, and that's cleansing your energy field. So essentially, and I've spoken into this in previous episodes, so definitely check out some of the earlier episodes on what the energy body actually is. But I tend to look at it like this beautiful essence of our soul is what our energy is. And, the soul is bigger than just what our physical body houses. Although our energy resides in our body, our soul resides in our body, it also sits in the energy field or the aura outside of the body. And some people believe that to be extending from your physical body as far out as potentially your outstretched arms. So you have this whole body of energy around you as well as in you. So the energy body around you is called the aura. And, energy moves through the aura in a very specific type of way. A lot of people believe that this moves up through your feet, through the body and out the crown. And then basically it cycles around the edges of your aura in almost like this circular or donut shaped style. And we call that the toroidal field or the energy body. Now, within the actual physical body, we also have key energetic spaces called chakras or energy centers. And these are beautiful centers that basically link into our nervous system and our endocrine system. And, the energy pathways that connect these chakras are called the meridians. So if you look at the meridians like the highways that connect these beautiful energy centers or energy stations within us, well, then basically you're powering the whole neighborhood with that energy, which essentially is your aura or your energetic field. It's almost like an energetic atmosphere that surrounds your physical body. And sometimes that picks up dirt. It's dust, or it could potentially be leaky. It can have holes in it in which we leak some of our light out and we take on some of other people's shadow. So when we cleanse our aura, our energy field surrounding the body, or potentially cleanse our chakras, it really is so brilliant at removing residue or the dust in the energy body. Now, sometimes this dust can arise from interactions with other people, from environments, and also from our thoughts. Our thoughts, our mental clutter creates almost like an energetic storm within that atmosphere that surrounds the body. So it's really important that when we're on a journey of clearing and cleansing our energy field, we're having a little look at what our mind is doing in the process, because we don't want to create energetic storms within our energy body. Without cleansing your energy field, we typically tend to feel heavy, and sometimes we feel like there's a fog in our energy field. Do you ever get that sense where there's a fogginess? You just have this kind of like, it's like a brain fog, and you kind of feel drained, and sometimes you feel drained down on a soul level. Now, it's really quite interesting because some people come into me and they've been in to see the GP, and, they've said to the GP, I'm feeling really heavy, I'm feeling foggy, I'm feeling drained. And sometimes the GP is like, well, do you have depression? Will we give you an antidepressant? And I find these conversations fascinating when people are with me, because they're like, I know I'm not depressed. I know I am not depressed, but there is something going on in my body. And I tend to say to them, well, I think using your intuition to know whether you have low mood or not is incredible, rather than just taking a prescribed medicine. But also, it's probably your energy. So, generally speaking, I go through certain tools and practices to help people cleanse their energy field in a way that basically just allows some lightness to come back into it. So, one of these tools is just sweeping the aura. And you can do this really, really simply with your hands. And sometimes I used to love using in the practice some sacred feathers. And, I got a gift of a beautiful, beautiful shamanic clearing tool, which was an eagle's feather. From a tribe over in America. And it is such a beautiful tool I use in my practice. Now, when I'm using either my hands or this beautiful clearing or cleansing feather, and you can basically collect a feather from nature and do some sacred ceremony to kind of put some intention into that feather, that's your clearing or cleansing feather now. So you don't need to be going out and buying these fancy things or getting these gifts. It's essentially making use of what the universe and nature has already given us. Now, what I like to use is specific type of cleansing tools with my hands or the feather. So what I tend to do if I'm using my hands to clear my aura, I love using sacred oils. So, sacred oils, I put them on my wrists. I sometimes put them on my solar plexus or on my crown. Sometimes I'll put them on each of my energy centers if I know I'm going to have a big day in practice doing some healing, just as a little protective tool for myself. But what I do sometimes is I put them onto my hands before I sweep my hands around my aura. It's almost like cleansing and clearing with these sacred oils. Now, what sacred oils are really good to use in these circumstances for cleansing? I love using things like holy water, can be fantastic. I absolutely adore sacred well water. I've been to so many sacred wells around Ireland, and I love collecting sacred well water from these locations. And over in the UK, I've been to some sacred wells that I've brought sacred well water home with me as well. I just put a few drops in my hands, I rub them together, and then with intention, I cleanse my energy field. I cleanse my chakras in my body with these lovely, beautiful waters. I also use things like frankincense. I absolutely love frankincense. It is a high vibrational essential oil. And you can also use things like sandalwood as well. Just putting little drops on the body, on the chakras, or putting one or two drops into your hands and sweeping them around your energy field. I sometimes also use quintessences, and these are high vibrational sacred tools as well. And Aura Soma, AURA Soma, actually do some beautiful quintessences, and they smell absolutely incredible. But you can use them in a very similar way. A couple of drops in the hands, you can just do some beautiful inhalations with that oil on the hands, and then sweep it over the energy field. Now, the thing is, I do use these tools with my clients as well before I start an energy healing practice. I will always sweep their aura. I will always cleanse their aura. Typically, what I tend to do is I start with some sacred oils in my hands, and then sometimes I'll then use some smudging techniques with my eagle's feather. Now, what is smudging? Essentially, it's using the smoke of some sacred herbs to actually clear the energy field. And I love doing this. I use sage, which is such a beautiful tool that I know a lot of people use. Like, you can clear your home, you can clear the energy in different spaces with sage, but I use it on my clients and within my own energy body too. I also use things like sacred tobacco. So sometimes I'll buy tobacco and I'll burn that, and the smoke from that I'll use. And there's a lovely, lovely tool as well called camphor, and you can burn that, and the smoke off that, it's so beautiful. You can use your hands, or you can use a feather as well to kind of waft it over the energy field, or even clear the space that you're in with this lovely smoke. So that's a really amazing tool, or a couple of tools there to be able to help you to clear or cleanse your aura as you sweep your hands or use sacred feathers over your auric field. Now, sometimes what I'll do is I'll also use cleansing techniques for my whole body if I've had a big week or if I've done some particularly deep healing work. And what do these involve? So sometimes what I'll do is I'll have a really salty bath. So I'll use some really good Celtic sea salts. I'll use some red or pink Himalayan salts, and I'll use half a cup of bicarb in a lovely warm bath. I'll then lie there for 45 minutes, soaking it all in, and allow that beautiful water and those minerals to cleanse my energy body. And, that can be a really powerful tool. But just be really mindful after something like that, you are really like squeaky clean. So you're not going to go and put yourself into an environment in which a lot of dirt is going to stick to you. You'd never put a clean white sheet out onto the road when there's a storm brewing outside. So just being really mindful when you're using some of these techniques that you're really protecting your energy field afterwards. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that now in a moment. But these cleansing techniques of this whole body salt bath can be so beautiful. Sometimes I also shower with intention. So I'll get into the shower and I'll imagine a beautiful waterfall of light just flowing over my body, clearing my auric field, clearing my energy body. And, really just tune in as that lovely energy of light passes over my body with the water. And I'll really just take some time to move down through my energy body and see whether there's any stuck or stagnant energy at any point in my energy body, and just allowing that water and that visualization of the waterfall to move over me. So there's some lovely water cleansing tools and techniques as well. Sometimes I just love jumping into the sea. That is such an amazing way to cleanse your energy field as well. So go jump into the sea and enjoy a lovely salty commune with nature. I just absolutely love it. Now, another way to cleanse your energy field is also with the breath. So, sometimes when you're in a particularly emotional space, people just sigh. They're like, like big sighs. And, that's a way of actually clearing stuck or moving energy within the body. And like I've said in previous pod episodes, energy is or emotion is energy in motion, emotion. So when there's energy and emotion bubbling up in the body, just allow it to move, Some yogis might use fire breath, and, it's just such a powerful tool. And I love deep breath work sessions. I tend to do pranayama breathing every morning before I do my mantra practice and start the day. really clear my energy field before I go into work and see my lovely clients. But once a week, I'll do a really deep, maybe 1 hour conscious connected breathwork session to really rattle things up and shake and clear energy from my body that is not in alignment with where I want to be that day. And another lovely way of kind of cleansing your energy field is to move, shake your body, do some dancing, things like ecstatic dance, and just movement can be so beautiful. So even my yoga practice, which I do a couple of mornings every week, that is so lovely. You're using your breath, you're moving your body. It's a lovely combination of working with your energy to cleanse your energy field. And you'll usually feel so much lighter after stuff like that. So, I'd love for you to really tune into your body on the day to day now that you're kind of listening to this and think to yourself, when do you notice that you feel heavy, like you're carrying a day that might not be yours? Because if that is the case, it's so important to then move on to tools number 2, and that's clearing your energy field. So we've kind of discussed a little bit now about cleansing your energy field, the importance of cleansing the aura, cleansing the chakras, cleansing the auric body with hands and feathers and sacred oils and smoke smudging, and also with lovely water cleansing tools. With the bath or the shower or the sea, and also the breath, which can be absolutely brilliant for people. But what if you realize that you're actually carrying around stuff that isn't yours? How do you clear your energy body of stuff that's not yours, of foreign energies, of entities, of cords that are attached to other people, and attachments to people and places and things that are actually draining you of your energy? So, like I say, when we go on this journey with energy and we become really familiar with it, you then begin to actually really realize, the deeper that your study and your practice goes with this, what's your energy and what isn't your energy, and what potentially you've taken on from other people. And, we talk a lot in psychotherapeutic spaces about projections, where people project their stuff onto you. Sometimes some folks will actually take those projections and they'll tuck them down into their energy fields and they'll take them on as their own. Potentially with friends, family members, workplace dynamics. Are you taking on responsibilities or energies or emotions or moods or whatever that might be that aren't for your greatest good? That aren't yours in the first place. People have handed them to you because they know that you'll hold them on their behalf, relieving them from the responsibility of carrying that stuff themselves. And like I've discussed in previous podcast episodes, ancestral inheritance, what has been handed down through the family lineage from one generation to the next, that now you are working through and processing, that nobody potentially had the opportunity to do in previous lifetimes. So this is really, really important, because sometimes we carry heavy ancestral imprinting in our energy bodies, ways of being, limiting beliefs, stuff that really directs and dictates how we live our life, that we've inherited. We don't realize that on a subconscious level, it's actually programming our whole life, until somebody wakes up one day and just goes, oh my God, how is this my life? I feel like I've kind of just been taken for the ride, rather than actually making active, definitive steps to move in a direction that your soul is calling you in. So, when we move into this space of clearing what isn't yours, essentially what I'm saying to you is, it's the recognition of the fact that you may be carrying stuff that isn't yours, and you're ready to actually release it. Now, when I do energetic healing on the day to day, I carry stuff home every day that's not mine. I need to do energy clearing techniques after my day in work in order to clear energy that might be stuck or stagnant within my own energy field. So it's really important to recognize when and what telltale signs your body is giving you to kind of indicate that maybe you're carrying someone else's stuff. And this can be on the day to day, and it can be more long term or intergenerational. But as we tune into the body, we'll be able to identify more about this. So on the day to day, because I do my breath work, I do my mantra practice, and I do these lovely tools to cleanse my energy field before I go to work. When I get to work, if I'm coming home and I'm craving a 3-in-1 or a pizza or something along those lines, that to me is a telltale sign I have energy in my energy body that I've taken on throughout my day of healing. Now, obviously I'm exposing myself to other people's energies in order to be a channel for their healing on that day. But maybe you're someone that, goes to a shopping center. You're in Dundrum shopping center and you feel like energy is shouting at you. You feel sticky and stagnant and you just feel a bit crap when you leave there. You've picked up something while you're there. And, on a much deeper level, trauma and relationships can leave energetic imprints on a much deeper and more penetrating way. So, every time we interact with people, we form energetic cords, especially those deep relational dynamics that we have with family members, with loved ones, and with friends. And sometimes very traumatic relationships will leave more energy draining cords in place. So it's important that sometimes we use some of the tools and practices that I'm going to talk about in order to cut the cords and clear what isn't yours in your energy body. So, like I say, cord cutting can be an absolutely lovely visualization technique that you can use in order to kind of sever energetic cords that might be binding you to people and places and things that you know are draining your light. It's important to recognize that cord cutting is an absolutely incredible tool, an absolutely incredible energetic tool to have. But generally speaking, when you cut cords with somebody or something, it alerts them that you've cut the cord. They will perceive that your energy has immediately retracted from their energy field. They will sense that. And I see the most fascinating stuff in practice when we do these deep cord cutting energy exercises in practice. So really important to be firm in your thinking with regard to actually I'm ready to cut the cord with this. And that can be a workplace dynamic and be a person, a place, a thing. Like I say, like cutting cords with something you've energetically connected with that is actively draining your energy can be really powerful. I usually love to do this type of work through visualization practice. So I'll get people to close their eyes. I'll get them to call the energy of what they're cutting the cord with into the space. And I'll get them to actually look down through the energy body to identify where the energy cord from that thing that they're cutting the cord with attaches to their body. And they'll always find it somewhere on the body. I then recommend using a scissors or potentially a knife or a dagger or a sword that you've brought into that space, or potentially even fire, to find where your energy stops and the other energy begins and sever the cord at that place. I then usually love to say specific things. So you find what works for you, but usually what I say is I disentangle the energetic cords that bind us. I send all energy back to you that I took, cleansed and cleared with love and light. And I call all energy and power and strength back to my body that you took, cleansed and cleared. So essentially, that's just a cord cutting tool or exercise that I use. Sometimes if I want a deeper understanding around all this cord cutting, I'll actually journal all about it. And then in true shamanic style, I'll write some things that I want to cut cords with. I'll do the visualization and energetic practice, and then I'll actually burn the piece of paper that I have the situation or the person or the place or whatever it is I'm cutting cords with. I'll burn it if it's written on that page. And that's a hugely powerful tool. Really, really powerful. Call your energy back. So, generally speaking, another way of doing this, and I do this sometimes in my practice after each of my sessions, is to command your energy field to release what is not for your highest good. So, I have spoken into this briefly in some of the earlier episodes of the podcast with regard to the fact that there are energies at play beyond what our physical eyes can see in the world. They're entities. And there are shadows and darkness that exist that are just looking for a little home within our energy body if you are carrying all this beautiful light. And the more that you raise your vibration and expand your light, the more susceptible you are on occasion to these energies coming in to try and latch on. And working as a healer, obviously, I open myself up to be a channel for light so that I can take the darkness from people as they lie on my plinth or sit with me in session, allow it to move out of my body and up to the light. And then I call the light in to energize their energy bodies with the purest form of light that I can call in. After these sessions, I cleanse my energy field with the sage and the beautiful oils that I use. And then I command my energy body to release what is no longer needed in this space. So I usually command my energy body, I cleanse and clear all of the energies, entities, or souls that have come into the space. From my energy fields. I do not want this energy in my energy body if it is not for my highest good. And I clear and cleanse the energies from my energy body, and I call light in. So things like that can be really, really powerful as well, which is really, really nice. Another way of actually clearing your energy body is a really simple tool like grounding. So get yourself out into nature, put your feet on the earth, especially grass or sand or stones. Just put your feet onto the earth, connect with Mother Earth, and just do a lovely grounding release of energies that aren't yours. What I tend to love doing is visualizing a lovely cord of light dropping down from the base of my spine, potentially like roots through my legs and my feet, anchoring me into the earth. And then I'll allow all of the energies that are not for my greatest good to drain down from my body and down through this energy cord or through these roots into the earth. And I ask Mother Nature, I ask Pachamama to compost all of these energies. And that is a really simple and beautiful way to release all the energies that are no longer serving you or that you've picked up on the day to day. So, one thing I'll just ask you to think about right now, just take a little moment. Whose energy are you carrying right now? If you can identify that you're carrying someone else's energy that's not yours, sometimes it's time to hand it back. It's time to release it. It's time to compost it, And there are other more advanced shamanic tools that I use during my energy sessions to actually hand energy back, to hand the weight and the burden of karmic energy, shame, guilt, grief, all of these things back to people that are still alive, but also that have passed on and are within our ancestral lineage. There's some amazingly powerful tools to do this on a much deeper level. I'm just giving you the surface tools that you can use on the day-to-day to cleanse and clear your energy body. Now, the final part of this podcast episode is all about protecting your energy field. So, like I say, this is the standard approach that I tend to take every day. I cleanse my energy field using the tools that I mentioned. I then clear what isn't mine. So essentially what you've done is you've cleansed and cleared your whole energy field. You're like this lovely radiant energy standing there, but you don't want everybody coming in, any energies, entities, the people who you're meeting every day to come and take that gorgeous light from you that you've spent so much time cleansing and clearing. And like I say to people, you're not going to go to bed at night with your front door open, are you? Anybody could come in and take anything that's in the house while you're unawares because you're asleep. So what I tend to like to do at this point as part of my kind of 3-step routine is to call in protection and put up some banding or protective energy fields around my energy body. So, protection isn't about fear. It's actually about respecting yourself. It's about having good energetic hygiene. So, once you've cleansed and cleared, you must seal your energy field, because otherwise you're just going to be porous to what's coming and going. So, through shamanic training, I received a rite. We call them the rites of the Muni Kai. And one of them was the bands of protection. So it was like an initiation as part of my energy training, that my mentor that actually initiated me into the Muni Kai lineage, they gifted me with the bands of protection. So every day I call up my bands of protection and I see them in my mind's eye and my third eye, like these beautiful, eccentric bands that wrap around my body and sealing my energy field for all the energetic work I'm going to do that day. However, if you haven't been on a journey with the shamanic training, you might like to use other tools or practices that have the exact same effect. So, some people like to imagine a golden egg. So, visualizing, closing your eyes for 30 seconds or a minute and imagining a big sphere of light around your energy body, a beautiful big golden egg of protection. Some people, I'll kind of go on a journey with. And always remember, do what feels right to you with this sort of stuff. You'll have a deep kind of energetic knowing from previous lives of what has worked and what hasn't worked and what your guides and your higher self are telling you to do. So potentially a golden egg isn't what you want to do, but maybe you visualize a beautiful mirror shield around the body. And it's almost like a beautiful kind of a boundary of mirrors that projects outwards and doesn't allow anything to penetrate that. When I was in my earlier stages of this energy journey, I used to imagine that I had armor on, and it was almost like I could see the armor in my mind's eye, like battling up and protecting every part of my body. And I loved that before I received my bands of protection. So, like I say, there's lots of lovely ways to do this. One absolutely beautiful way, if you work with the energy of angels, is to call in Archangel Michael. He is an incredible protector. So, I usually call in Archangel Michael every day and I just ask him to ignite my energy field in his sacred blue flame of protection. And I just imagine a huge, big flame emerging around my energy field that completely protects me. And he can also cleanse and clear as well as protect. So Archangel Michael carries a lovely big sword, and usually at the end of my day, I will always say, Archangel Michael, use your sword of protection to cut away any energies or energetic cords that have connected to me today. So he is one of the main tools, if not the main tool, in my toolbox for all three of these things we've talked about today. So, calling up his sacred flame, using his sword to disconnect the energies, and also calling that beautiful, brilliant blue light and flame around you to protect you. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And what I love to say during this protection stage is, I am sovereign in my energy. I am sovereign in my energy. And, sometimes I'll call Archangel Michael in some really deep emotional sessions to come and wrap his wings of light around me and the client, to hold them in the most sacred and safe way. I usually do this on my journey with women who have had losses, to hold them in the most sacred and soft way that I can to help them on their journey. So it's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful tool to be able to use. So they are the main tools that I tend to use on the day to day. So generally speaking, I know I've gone into a good bit of detail here, but finding what works for you with regard to cleansing, clearing, and protecting. And sometimes you can create a little ritual for yourself that it consists of just 2 or 3 minutes in the morning. I do it between each of my clients every day, and then I'll do it again at the end of the day before I come home. I don't want to be bringing any of the energy from my practice home to my partner or my gorgeous cat or my space, and I don't want to be bringing it into my dream world at night either. So it's really important that you do this if you're in a healing capacity. as often as you can throughout the day. But if you find that you are someone that brings energies around with you on the day to day, that you know aren't yours, they are some lovely, lovely tools that you can use before and at the end of each day in order to cleanse, clear, and protect yourself. So what I'll invite you to do after this podcast episode is maybe even just sit down and reflect for a moment or two on where you might be leaking energy. Where are you taking on someone else's energy, or potentially from an environment that you're spending a lot of time in? And where are you leaking light? What is taking your life force energy from you, you know? Maybe potentially reflecting or journaling about what you need to release today. What do you need to release today? And from everything that I've gone through this evening, potentially, what does a daily energetic hygiene ritual look like for you? What does that look like for you? You know, potentially in the morning, you might do a sweep with your hands and some sacred oils over the energy field. You might do some grounding to clear and put on your bands of protection. And then in the evening, you do some cord cutting, do some cleansing with some smudging, and seal your energy field with that beautiful light of Archangel Michael before you go to sleep. But one thing I will say is this is your journey. This is your energetic journey. And, you know, when I kind of took all of the tools I'd learned from all the books and my mentors and everything, and I started weaving in everything that I just loved and made ceremony and ritual sacred and special to me, that's when I really went on a journey with energy, because it became personal, and it was a special way in which I began to live every day like a ritual and a ceremony. And you know what? It brought so much magic and wonder to my life doing that. So with love from my heart to your gorgeous, squeaky clean energy field, I will talk to you again soon. Sending love.